I fired a patient. Actually, I had to fire her twice. And if you've ever had a patient who ignores your recommendations, pushes your boundaries, price shops your plan, no-shows, and then somehow makes you think the problem is you, that's exactly what we're going to talk about today, because sometimes it's not the protocol or what you're doing, it's that the patient is not a good fit. Well, hello, welcome back. It's gonna get saucy today. I'm gonna spill a little tea on something that I think it continues to be an issue for so many practitioners. And it doesn't really matter whether you're a wellness practitioner or you're a dentist or you're an MD. There are just sometimes people who just are not a good fit. Doesn't matter which way you slice it. They're just not a good fit. And so today I want to talk about that. You heard me say, I really truly did fire this patient twice. I'll give you more of the info in a bit, but the relationship always starts out good. And you think, oh, of course I can help you. Of course I can. I'm going to help you. Yes, no problem. And then it goes south. And sometimes the relationship between the practitioner and the patient starts to take on, like a different flavor, shall we say. And that flavor starts to taint the relationship. Like it didn't start out that way. And I didn't sign up for this and I didn't expect this out of you. And I think where we get into trouble is this. We want to help everybody with all the things. And there's not a bad thing. Like I'm not faulting you or me or anyone else for wanting to do that. Like we really want to do the right thing by the person. But the problem is that not everybody's invested at the same level. And if I could really be honest, I don't know about you, but I have noticed that there is so much more entitlement happening these days. Patients are just entitled. And I hate to kind of throw that word around, but I think it's really true. We see more and more and more. I see it in like the hiring pool. That's why in the last year and a half, well, no, that's not true. I've had a really solid person in my practice for over a year now. But before that, in the year, 14 months or so before that, I hired and fired, I lost count. I think it was 9 people. Just in the span of a year and a half, and almost all of it was because of entitlement. And so I think patients sometimes come in the same way. Well, why aren't you going to do that for me? Well, that's what I deserve. Well, that's what I'm paying you for. Well, why can't you call me back at 9 p.m. at night? If it's an emergency on my part, like sometimes the boundaries just get crossed. But of no fault of our own, honestly, genuinely, we really, really do want to help. We don't want to seem unprofessional. We want to help them get results. We want to make sure that they're happy. We don't want the conflict. And I think sometimes, honestly, we don't want a bad review. Like I just got my first 2-star review from a bot. And, okay, fine, I'll take that. I can dispute it and all of that. But, sometimes you get a 2-star review or a 3-star review from someone who's just disgruntled. We want to do everything we can to make them happy. But sometimes there's just no more happy that can happen. You can try every supplement in the world and it's just not going to fix the problem. That's the problem. Sometimes you're not dealing with really a clinical problem. You're dealing with a fit problem, a patient fit problem. So here's what happened to me. So this woman comes to me, she was a referral, and that's the only way that I will take on someone new is if they are by referral. You can't find it on my website. You can't find anything about anything, anywhere, ever. I only take patients by referral. So this lady came to me and she had really high anxiety, fairly young, in her upper 20s, and recently married. And she just had, so many digestive issues. Well, right away, I'm like, well, that's a no-brainer. Of course, if you have high cortisol, you're going to have digestive issues for sure. So she has all these digestive issues and she's got like reflux and heartburn and pressure in that epigastric area and pain in the mid-back. And I get it. I get all of that. And so I start her on the normal things. I do what I'm going to do. And the first thing I know, I'm never going to make any progress with her digestion until I fix the stress, right? We all know this. So I go after the stress and I'm like, give her everything. Because I know that I'm going to have to really settle that nervous system down in order for me to even begin to make headway. There's no amount of digestive bitters or hydrochloric acid that's going to fix this. I have to get the stress down and the anxiety down. So I start doing that. And then she says, well, I'm too scared to take the pills. I'm just too scared to take them. Like, okay, well, how about? So then I said, well, listen, let's start with some vagus nerve work. Let's start with that. Let's start with some deep breathing. Let's start. And I'm like, well, okay, if you won't take my pills, my supplements, the herbs, I know they'll work. But if you aren't willing to take them or you can't or whatever, then let's do some other things. So she couldn't really do that. Well, I'm just like that. So her family was outside, her husband and her family was pressuring her to go to an MD because they were sure something really, really bad was wrong. Well, when you say that to someone who has anxiety, yeah, that's not going to go over well. And indeed, it did not. And so now her anxiety just went 5 degrees higher because now she's just panicked that something's wrong. So she's had all the imaging, endoscopy, colonoscopy, CT, x-rays, MRI. She's had all the labs and specialists and all the things. And she kind of ghosts me. She's not really talking to me. And I'm following up, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? And she said, well, I've gone to the doctor for this next thing, going to the doctor for this next thing. Well, I'd already had the conversation with her about how, you can't just because you're on and she was on like 4 or 5 medications too, on top of that, and a couple of anxiety medications. I don't know what else. And so, of course, what does the doctor do? Give her a PPI. Well, so then that's messing that up. So she's on that. There's 4 or 5 medications at 28. So I said, well, some of those medications aren't going to be the greatest for you. So maybe what we ought to do is think about how we can fix what's underneath. And then someone told her, oh, well, you can't work with someone like Ronda because she's going to give you stuff that's going to interfere with the medication. So then she's off spiraling. So do you see how this is becoming a not good fit? So at the end of the day, she gets through all these medical tests. She comes back and she says, well, the doctor prescribed me some enzymes and I think they're helping. I said, great. I love that they're helping for you. And I think you should keep doing them because at this point, I'm looking for an off-ramp. I'm being honest. I'm looking for an off-ramp. I'm like, I want out. I want out of this. I want off this crazy train. So I told her, keep taking it. And then she says, well, yeah, but you told me some of the medications are a problem. And well, what if I take this and then that makes it a more problem? And is that going to interfere with what you've given me to take? By this time, she'd taken a few things, but not much. And stuck. I felt like my foot was nailed to the ground and it didn't matter what I said was not going to be the right thing. So I said, nope, I just said, those enzymes aren't going to interfere with anything. I said, you just keep taking what you feel comfortable taking, keep taking the enzymes and let's just see how you do. I said, reach back out to me in a couple of months and we'll follow up then because I have no desire or need really to follow up with her because I don't have anything else to do. So a couple months later, we get back on the phone and she's talking about her hormones and her hormones are all screwed up. Well, of course they are because cortisol's all screwed up and we have the pregnenolone issue. All that's going to be messed up, of course. So I said, well, when you're ready, then we can start to make sure your digestion is working, which it sounds like your doctor has that under control. And we get your stress better. I said, then, when you're ready, then we can start working on your hormones. Well, what does that look like? I said, well, the first thing I'm going to do is have you do some liver work because the liver and bile are super, super important. And then she says to me, well, you can send me over the supplements that you want me to take, but what I need you to do, get this. What I need you to do is create a custom list for me of the cheaper things that I can take, along with dietary, what I need to eat. And my husband and I are going to do this together. So I need you to do it for both of us. And I need to make sure that on there that there are foods that are going to be really good for my fertility and also for my digestion. And could you just please write that up because we can't really afford the supplements that you're recommending. So I just need you to go find other supplements that we can buy online for cheaper and then create the protocol. Wait, what? What is happening right now? And I thought, I'm done. That's it. You just crossed my line. That's it. I'm done. I'm nice. I'm never mad, ever, never, ever. But I'm done. You crossed my line. So I said, okay, no problem. I said, listen. And I sent her a message, an email, and I just said, listen, I think that we might need to, part ways. I said it in a really nice way. And part of the agreement that she signed is that all of that, I put it in my paperwork, is that if you're going to work with me, that all of your supplements have to be purchased through me. And if you aren't doing that, because I can't tell if she's taking what she needs to take, because I know by the dosing and the reorder schedule, I know what's happening. She hadn't been. I went and looked. I wasn't paying attention. I went and looked and she'd ordered 1 bottle from me. So that tells me she's ordering her stuff on Amazon and I didn't have her on a program. I know it's what I teach, but I did not do it with her and I should have. And it bit me in the butt. And so I've lost money on supplements and she's becoming a problem and I've spent all this extra time. So anyway, at the end of the day, I send this email And I thought, okay, well, it was nice, but I just said, listen, moving forward, this is how it's going to be. If you need to order anything, those supplements have to come through me. If they're not comfortable with that or it's a financial difficulty, then you're welcome to go, do it on your own. But I won't be able to provide any other support for that. And I never heard back from her. I thought, oh, this is perfect. Like, sweet. She got the message. It was kind. It was very kind. No one could ever say it was like over the line or anything. And then about maybe a month later, I get a message from her. She's like, hi, Rhonda. It's really great to talk to you. And I'm just super excited. And, we're getting ready to start the liver cleanse. And like, I don't think she ever got the email. Now what do I do? So I just had to do what I had to do. I just had to say, I don't know that this is going to work. And that was like a super hard conversation because she needs help. And I tried to refer her to someone in the area that came highly recommended. And she was just too anxious to even do that. She's just too anxious. So I had to let her go. So if I looked back, I'm looking back, what would I have looked for? And I knew this. I mean, I kind of knew this, but here are some of the things that if you've got a patient that's going to potentially encroach on your boundaries and maybe take advantage of you, that someone that wouldn't be a good fit. Here are some of the things that you can kind of listen for or look for. One is practitioner hopping. I've talked about this before, but as someone who says, oh, I've been to everyone and no one can help. No one's helped me. I think, well, why do you think I'm going to be able to help then? So that tells me a little bit about either they really have been to very poor practitioners, which I find that hard to believe, or they just aren't helpable. That's one. Another one that's a big red flag is someone who's trying to control the process before I ever get started. I just had someone email me a week or so ago, and she said, oh, I heard about you from so-and-so, another patient, which was nice. It's a great referral. I heard about you from so-and-so, and she said you were amazing and you could fix the da-da-da. And she said, but I just need to know, well, what kind of dietary recommendations are you going to? And she sent a list of like 10 questions. Excuse me, that's not how this works. That's not how this works. You either want what I have or you don't. I don't mind providing a little bit more information about what I've done for the last 20 years. I don't mind. It's fine. I have enough street cred. I can stand on my own 2 feet. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go try and justify what I'm doing so that you can feel better. I just said back to her, we said, you should probably go talk to the patient and just get her opinion. She can fill you in on all that. I'm not doing that. So someone who wants to like know all the things and control what tests you can order. Well, when are you going to order them? Well, when are they going to come back? Well, what order do they come in? Do I pay for those separately? Well, how do they get paid? Well, can I go through my insurance? Well, I want all my blood work to go through. And you know the drill, right? These are those people. Red flag, warning, 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 run, 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 run. Do not say yes to those people. Another one is I've now started to ask people, how comfortable are you with taking supplements that you've never taken before? And if they say, oh, no, like I had a lady who was in an MLM. I won't name which one, but she was in this MLM forever. And she said, oh, those are the only supplements I take. And I said, okay, well, then I'm not going to be a good fit for you. And I just told her, I said, listen, I'm not familiar with those. You're probably better to get support from the company on how those are going to work in the body. But I said, I'm not going to be a right fit for you. And I had to let her go. Sometimes if they're too medically oriented, that can be a problem. They're thinking like, well, I got to check with my doctor before I see you, or I have to check with my doctor before I take your supplements or whatever. No show, disappearing, like drifting away and then coming back and wanting you to fix, and they drift away and then they come back. No, just draw the line. Those people they are just not engaged as fully as you are. They're not as committed, I should say. They're just not committed to the process. They're not committed to the outcome. They're not committed to the process. And then they want, like the person I was referring to, she wanted me to do all the work. And then she's just going to go off and do her own thing. I'm like, no. And then also when someone starts to like kind of twist the truth a little bit about, well, no, I've been really, really, really good with my diet. Mm-hmm, yep. And their triglycerides are going up and their weight is up. Like, what? You're lying to me. I don't like that either. And at the end, if there's constant friction instead of a partnership, that's when it becomes a problem. From the very beginning, if they don't trust your process, they're going to drain your practice. It's not that they have questions. The issue is that they are not in control and they're not looking for a partnership. They may want to stay in control, and then that doesn't work for you and me. So if there's, they've got chaos and drama and all the things, that's not you. So how do we get rid of these people? I mean, in the nicest kind of way. I'm not being mean, and I would never be unkind. So first of all, super simple. My favorite, especially because I have a virtual, right? So I just do work with people virtually on Zoom. But my favorite way is to say, listen, I've been thinking about this, and I know that you've had some struggles or challenges in like feeling better and feeling like what we're doing is working. And I really honestly think I would love to continue working with you. However, I really think that at this point, you'll be much better if you have someone in person that you can talk to, connect with. They can see your face, they can see your body, they can actually meet with you in person. I think that type of provider is going to be more in alignment. I don't think that what I do is the right fit for you. And I want to honor your needs and I want to honor how my practice works. But I think we need to let me see if I can find someone for you locally to go to that will be a better fit in person. Because I don't feel right at the end of the day with you continuing to make appointments, but we're not making progress. Like, I don't think that's fair. It's not fair for you. You're paying for something that you're not getting value from. And I want to make sure that you're really getting the value for what you pay. See, I just made it all about them. I didn't have to point out all things. Well, you this and you didn't show and you didn't. I'm done. That's it. I'm out. My life, your life will become so much more peaceful. You know how you look at your calendar? I mean, it's kind of the dirty secret inside, our world, but sometimes people just people. And you look at your calendar and you're thinking, oh, that person's coming in today. You just, ugh, you know what I'm talking about. That's just what happens. So I just I don't want you to feel like you can't, your circus, your monkeys, but you have to make sure that the patient is working within the guidelines of your practice. You get to decide what those parameters are. So it's not that you're abandoning anyone. You're just recognizing who's the right fit for you. Like me, I don't like to work with weight loss people, but I have someone in CBA and Clinical Business Academy. That's what she loves to do. She loves it more than anything, and she's so good at it. She will fix weight loss for anybody. She loves it. I would rather never see a person again if I had to only do weight loss. I don't like it. And so there are a few things that I just don't like. I don't want to do cancer patients because it's hard for me because of my, having my daughter having cancer. It just brings all of that back up for me. It's just hard. My heart hurts because I understand. And I can't. I just emotionally can't do it. So, there's boundaries. What are your boundaries? What are you? Sometimes you meet with someone and you're like, oh, yeah, no, no, no. Right away, I'm not qualified to do it. It's out of my league. You need medical help. Or sometimes it's just not a personality fit. I had a guy who was a bully one time and he threatened to sue me because I wouldn't come in at 7 a.m. for his appointments because that was what was convenient for him. And it was patient abandonment. Like, whatever. But, sometimes they're just bullies, right? But helping them see that there's a better opportunity for them somewhere else is the kindest thing you can do. And you can stop taking their money. Don't let money be the driver. Like, well, I really need the money, so I really need to take the patient. Is the aggravation really worth it? I would argue no. So I want you to think about what are your own standards? Like, what does a good fit patient look like for you? What does it look like? Does it look like someone who has some, disposable income that they can spend, on the work that you're doing together? But what kind of behaviors do you want them to have? Well, obviously, we want them to be kind and we want them to be respectful and we want them to be a team player, work together as a partnership. But what are the things that are, I call them like a no-fly zone? What are the things that are just not tolerable for you? I think you've got to get really clear about that because when you're clear about what you want and what you don't want, it makes, filtering out the bad patient a lot easier. Bad patient's the wrong choice of words. A poor fit patient, the person who's not right for you, you can spot it a lot earlier. Because when the relationship doesn't work between you and the patient, it's no longer therapeutic. It's not therapeutic for you. It's not therapeutic for them. So good fit patients will be things like, they might be a little hesitant and they might need a little reassurance, but they have a desire to follow through. They want to take their part. They have questions, but they're coachable. They may not understand, but they're willing to learn. And they follow the guidelines, like they order their supplements. They show up for their appointments. They're kind. They don't mistreat you or your staff. They're not negative all the time. They're not complaining all the time. I mean, those are just attributes and characteristics that you just say, this is what is right for me. If you don't define your standards, the most demanding patient will. They'll define the standards by which you operate your practice. Do you really want to give up that control to someone? I don't think you do, because I don't. I'm not willing to do that. I don't have to audition for people. If you've already come in and you've decided that I am now auditioning for you, wait a minute. No. That's not going to work. I choose who I want in my practice. We are flipping the tables on that. You don't choose. I get to choose because this is my circus, my monkeys, my practice, and I'm paying the bills. So I get to work with the people that I want to work with. That's all. So as I'm talking, I'm pretty sure you probably had a few names that popped into your mind and you're thinking, oh, yes, I need to let go of them. Listen to this episode again. Listen, like write it down, go back, write down the things that I said that you're like, oh, that's good. I can say that. Say it in your own words. You don't have to do it like me. Say it how you want to say it, but be kind and make it about them, not about you. I don't like the way you talk to me, so therefore you need to leave. Like, we're not doing that. But what I want you to think about is like, are we really, the patient and I, are we really working together? Are we on the same page or am I working harder than they are? Because I've always said, I can't care about this more than you do. I can't. And as soon as that line gets crossed where I'm caring about it more than they are, then I pause and I think, okay, is this a good fit patient? And like the young woman that I was describing earlier, she was invested, more heavily invested into the influence and the opinions of her family, the opinions of her doctor. And I can fully respect that they had financial constraints. I completely respect that. But she kept asking and wanting from me. Like, well, that's just not how it works. So that's not how my structure, that's not how my practice works. So let's find someone who you can do that. I can't do all the heavy lifting here and then you get all the benefit. Like we have to be a team here. So I think the takeaway for you, my friend, is you're never ever going to build a practice that is the right fit for everyone. As much as you want to think that that's the case, it's never going to happen. The goal is to build a practice that's filled with people that you really enjoy and that want what you have to offer and they're willing to do the work and pay for it because you can't care about it more than they do. That's all. And if there's an imbalance in that relationship, it might be time for you to just get a little thoughtful about whether you think that patient is going to be the right fit for your practice. And when you can relieve that emotional turmoil and angst and you can help them find someone that they can work with that's going to be a better fit, when you can do that, my gosh, it's just it's so much more freeing, so much more freeing. And you'll have more energy then to bring in the right people. Because remember, what is the sign or the signal sign that you're sending out to the universe, so to speak? What are you signaling by your actions? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, right? And if your action says, these are the people that I want, and therefore I'm going to get rid of the people that I don't want, you just made room for more people that you do want. But spend some time and think about it. Who's a good fit? Who's not a good fit? And what are your rules and boundaries of engagement? What are the things that are non-negotiable for you? If someone no-shows on me, I'm out. I set that time aside for you. Like this is a big one for me. Disrespect is huge for me. Disrespect. My kids will tell you, oh boy, no, we do not disrespect. I just think it's so disrespectful when you disrespect someone. Sometimes things happen, and I've missed appointments. I have missed them, but I clean up my mess. And it's always because there was something that like I got stuck with a patient or there was a traffic thing or, there's always something, but never like intentionally and without a follow-up and an apology. And hey, here's the circumstance. Please, give me another chance or I want to make it right by you. I'm so sorry. That stuff happens, but there's communication. But people who just don't disrespect you, you got to get rid of them because now you're going to leave people room, the right people to come in. The right people to come in. So don't be offended too fast. Give people, a chance or two. But when they show you who they are, believe them. That's all. All right, friends. See you next time. Listen, if this episode hit a little too close to home for you and you realize that you've been tolerating those patients that are giving you trouble in your practice, you have got to stop. You don't need any more chaos in your world. There's enough chaos in life the way that it is. All you really need is a better system. You need a system around your intake. You need a system around how to qualify those patients. You need a system for how you're going to integrate them. And you also need some kind of a marker or a checklist to be able to evaluate when things start to go awry and where that line is, that if they cross that line, then we go into, plan B, which is how to kindly and warmly remove them for your practice. These types of systems are exactly what I help practitioners do inside Clinical Business Academy. If you are ready to start building a business that's built on a solid foundation, not waffling around trying to change things at the last minute and having all kinds of documents in all kinds of places and there's no organization and no structure, if you're tired of that, then I have got the solution for you. Schedule a practice strategy call with me and let's talk. I'm here to help you, and I want to help you grow a business that helps you serve more people, but do it in a way that feels easy and light. But most importantly, it really helps you generate the revenue that you deserve for the transformational work that you're doing. So schedule a call with me. Go to rondanelson.com/practice strategy. That will give you access to my calendar. We can schedule a time to talk and let me just find out about what's going on in your business. What are your big pain points? And I'll tell you if Clinical Business Academy is a good fit or not. If it's not, I will tell you. And if it is, we can talk further about that. But get on a call with me. I would really love to know, where are you stuck? What is the biggest problem that you're facing? And let me see if I can help. So go to rondanelson.com/practice strategy. And I can't wait to talk to you.